All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Craps with John from Pro Craps over here on Casino Gaming TV from not so sunny Florida. It's actually going to be kind of a crappy day today. We had lost power yesterday. We had a massive thunderstorm. It's going to happen again today. Hopefully, today's show is a little better than yesterday's. I'm going to sort of caution you, though, as we get into this thing that the computer that I'm on is super underpowered, so it's struggling to keep the stream going. So we'll see if it works. If not, then we'll have another early exit. But yeah, so I'm excited. Today we're going to do a little bit more about the 5 count, and we'll talk about that in just a minute here. But today is a quick update on Craps for the Cure, and we'll do our first verses of the week, which is going to be today the Molly versus the 5 count. So with that said, let's jump into it and talk about that 5 count. Actually, before I do that, I want to quick talk about Craps for the Cure because it's important for you to start thinking about it now. I've made my preliminary list, by the way, of all the people that I want to come. Not that I want to come, but that want to have these guests, live guests in Vegas. So I'm looking at, part of the thing we said was that it's going to have to be live. We can't do a recorded thing. This computer, obviously, we're having streaming problems anyway, but I don't have anybody streaming into it and having an audio problem or anything like that. So the decision's made that if you're going to be on the broadcast, you got to be there in person. So I'm trying to get Jacob to fly out, Ryan from Market Point, fly on out and come see us. I've got a lot of Vegas locals that I'm hoping that come, like Garrison, Tony Leo again, the Dice Coach, Bill Parker. If I can get him, we'll get Howard Rock and Roller. Of course, David and the guys from Casino Quest will be there. I might get Heather. She's also a dealer. So there's some people I think we can get that are locals that are kind of well known that'll help us through it. Yeah, maybe Jack Ace come out and do some roulette with us. So I'm gonna try and like kind of diversify the group a little bit but get it all done in person. So that's gonna happen November 11th and 12th at Casino Quest. Reminder: if you want to go, awesome, do it please. If you want to go and don't have accommodations yet, let me know. We're working behind the scenes here. I'm part of Premier hosting now, so I'm away, and I'm trying to get all the coordinations done now, like from here. So it's taking a little longer than I'd like to get things lined up for everybody. But if you want to be in and you don't have a host yet, let me know. I'll hook you up. So my email address is john@procraps.net, and just contact me directly, and we'll go ahead and get that figured out. So. Skill and Luck, by the way, wanted to know. I have a note here from him. As we get into this thing, let's actually change to the next screen here. Skill wants to know, why is the 5 count becoming a big thing? It's not that the 5 chat one night, and Ed Robinson and I both kind of made this point, like, dumbest thing ever, right? And people, like, pounced on that. Like, you guys are just, A, being mean, and B, like, don't know what you're talking about. It's the greatest thing ever. Like, it's not really that good. The reason why I say it's not really that good, or that it makes no sense, and why Ed said it too, is simply that it's this illusion of not winning, of not losing, right? It gives you, when you're not playing, you're not losing, right? And the 5 count is based on not playing, right? It's based on not playing until something good happens. And something good happens means somebody breaks probability, right? The average shooter length is about 8.5. The average time between 7 is about 6, right? So the 8.5 kind of cover some of the come out action. So that's about the average, right? The 5 count's designed to get you past the average, like C5 box numbers before you start betting, meaning the shooter's it's like a way to kind of suss out a hot table, I guess, right? So that's the theory behind it. I say to you that the reality of it is the dice don't know, right? If you're completely on a random shooter, it doesn't make a hill of beans difference if they can shoot or not. It's random, right? If you're a controlled shooter, you're still to some degree random. But even then, you're still fighting the 7 the same way every single time. So waiting rolls doesn't really help you other than prolong the inevitable, in my theory. So we're going to run a little versus segment here. It's going to be the 3-point Molly, which is going to be a pass line, 2 come bets, max odds. All the time, never mechanically, always working. The 5 count is going to run with, we're going to qualify the shooter. So the 5 count will not place a bet until the shooter has achieved what's called a 5 count. In other words, they've got 5 box numbers post-point, okay? That's indicator that they're on a good roll, and we can start going in, and that person will then bet up to 3 bets. Up to 3 bets. It'll be multiple come bets. If the point gets made and they're coming out, they may do a pass line bet, or they may do another come bet. Depends on what the rhythm is. And the 5 count will have 3 bets going too. It's a 3-point Molly after the 5 count. Both players, as you'll see here in a minute, both players will be set up to never stop betting. I'm going to set them up to run paycheck style, which means after a 7 out, basically they're going to keep on playing until a 7 out happens. And when a 7 out happens, we'll evaluate the bankrolls. If they made a paycheck, we'll log it. If they didn't make a paycheck, we're not going to log it. We'll log it as a loss, and that's how it's going to go. So we're gonna run it that way. I'm actually going to go to a video. So what I did, because this computer is a little bit underpowered, I couldn't do Windcrafts live and do the stream live at the same time. So about an hour ago, I recorded the Windcraft session in a video. I'm going to play the video for you right now so you can watch it. This happened an hour ago. I didn't cook the books. This happened about an hour ago. So I'll play the video for you. When the video's done, we'll come right back to the screen here live and we'll recap it. So I'm going to go press the button now. It should play the video for us. And then when it's done, we'll come back and we'll talk about it. So stay tuned. Here comes the video, and I'll see you about 5 or I think it's actually about 11 minutes. Here we go. So in this one, we're going to do the Molly versus the 5 count. And where we're going to start it is both players will have $1,500 in bankroll, by the way. And I'll show you the automated scripts we have for them. So pretty simple stuff. We'll do the Molly first. The Molly starts like this. So both scripts will have this. What happened? I'm upside down. We are over in Windcrafts. We're going to do some live versus testing. So in this one, we're going to do the Molly versus the 5 count. And where we're going to start it is both players will have $1,500 in bankroll, by the way. And I'll show you the automated scripts we have for them. So it's pretty simple stuff. We'll do the Molly first. The Molly starts like this. So both scripts will have the same starting point. We're going to basically auto take full odds on both players. I set the table up for 3, 4, 5 odds. It could be 2x. It doesn't matter what the odds are. As long as they're both playing with the same levels, it's all good. The next set of variables here that I set up are the paycheck stuff. So we have a count of how many decisions we've had, wins or losses, how many wins we've had, the winning percentage, the losses, the loss percentage, the win goal, which I've set to 0.1 or 10%, and the loss limit, which I set to 1, which is 100%. So either we're going to lose $1,500 or we're going to win $150. Okay. Our base bet amount here is going to be set to $25. Our number of bets is the number of come bets we're going to allow for the Molly, so 2. So it'll be a pass line and 2 come bets. And this 1 here is saying we are playing for a paycheck or not 1 or a 0. So I can change it. So we say if the paycheck is 1, if we're playing for a paycheck and we have a 7 out, then we do all this math. The math is simple. If we have more bankroll than we started with, in other words, we make our win goal, we add 1 to the wins, we add 1 to the decisions, and we get our new win percentage. If our bankroll is less than what we started with minus the stop loss, so in other words, 0, we'll add 1 to our losses and calculate our loss percentage. If our bankroll is less than the minimum bet, or we either won or lost, then we say we're going to deposit the bankroll and start over again. So you're going to have these cases where you're down at like whatever and you start over. So that's it. That's going to be our Molly. The strategy is simple. If the next roll's a come out roll, bet the pass line. Otherwise, if it's not a come out roll, if I have less than the number of come bets, then bet a come. That's really it. So we're going to keep 2 come bets rolling all the time. That's the Molly. The 5 count looks like this. It's the same starting, all the same stuff at the beginning. The difference is we're going to keep a count. Okay, so if after the paycheck decision is made, basically it says this. If the dice total 4, it's a box number, add 1 to the count. If the point is decided against a box number, so in other words, it's 7 out, reset the count. If any come bets lose, reset the count. That's kind of the way that works. The count's greater than 5. Then we say if we have less than the total number of bets, so in other words, in our case 3, then either bet the come if we have a point or bet the pass line. So you're always going to have 3 bets going, pass line and 2 comes or 3 comes or whatever it happens to be based on where you are in the count, and that's it. So really it's going to keep 3 bets rolling just like the Molly. It's just the rhythm of it is different because you don't bet them until you have a good count. And that's basically it. You're going to see these 2 strategies go head to head here in just a minute. And we'll talk about what's going to happen. I expect they'll both be okay for a minute. They'll both win on great rolls. The Molly will be way more volatile as you can imagine, because the 5 count's not playing for periods of time. But let's go ahead and run it. I think I've got this thing set, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go over here. I think I had it set to do 1,000 rolls. We'll do 1,000 rolls, which simulates about 8 hours of play, which I think is more than enough to give these two a good view of how they play. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get that started, and then we'll take a look at the numbers as they go, and we'll start 5 counts on top, Molly's down the bottom. All right, let's see what happens. So you can see already, right? The ups and downs are kind of similar, but look at the 5 count up here. Look at these like flat areas. See where it's flat, where my mouse is right here? It's flat. It's flat. It's flat. Those are all periods of time where it's not betting. It's waiting for a good count. The Molly is just betting all the time. So it's jagged up and down constantly because it doesn't care about the count. But you can see the 5 count's got these flat lines, these like 20, 30, 40 rolls where nothing's happening. That's waiting for a good count. Okay. And again, they're going to still both experience the super highs when the rolls go long. But yeah, the flat lining is what I would have expected to see. And we'll look at some extra volatility here too. That volatility comes risk and it comes reward. You can kind of see here. Let's get this thing. It's almost done. It's 900 and change rolls here. Let's let it finish up. For the longest time, the Molly was way ahead. If you look at like the highest, at one point the Molly earned $3,700. A lot of excess in there because it doesn't stop at paycheck. It goes until the 7 out happens. So if you hit paycheck during a shooter and it doesn't just stop like I do when I do daily paycheck, it just goes until the 7 out happens. So there's times where it gets to $3,700, which is really cool. The 5 count misses out on some of those. The highest it ever got was 3,025, and for most of the time it was down in the 2,000s as its highest. They both did go to zero. You can see the low is zero, so they both did go to zero at some point. Let's take a look at what's called the check stack. So give me a second to pull that window up here. This will give us some of the details. So the 5 count had 11 decisions, 9 were wins. So it won paycheck at least 9 times, which is great. It got its butt kicked twice. So it lost $3,000 and it won at least 159 times, probably more than that. There's your total there. Now the Molly, look at the difference here. I can predict what's going to happen. This is 11 decisions, 9, so it was an 81% win. The Molly had 19 decisions, almost double the number of decisions, which is that's the impact of not playing, right? When I said it before, you're not playing, so you have less decisions, which makes sense, right? 78% win rate, so it lost 4 times. So it lost $1,500 4 times, but it won at least 150 15 times. So you have more chances at it, more cracks at the nut. With the Molly strategy, if you're doing paycheck play like I do, right? This is 3 weeks. This is 4 weeks of play. 4 weeks of going there and having either a win or a loss, where the 5 count only went in there 3 weeks. So you miss out on, or 2 weeks rather, you miss out on nearly double the amount of opportunities to go win. If we take a look at the board, this will tell us the totals here. So in the end of the day, in this run, the Molly made a total of $4,900 net. The 5 count made a net of $1,175. Not surprising. Not surprising because there's a lot of time spent not playing. And that's clear, right? I think the Molly has this way more volatility because it's playing all the time. Now I can run this again, and I will. And you may see in the next run the opposite happen. I've seen this thing go where it flips because the Molly just gets crushed on the early rolls and the 5 count worked and it made money. So let me reset the game. We'll do another run here, and then I'm going to reset it again, and I'll turn the paycheck off. Let's do a new game. I'm not going to save my session stats, and let's just run it again. Get the auto bet set up. All right, here we go. Let's run it. And again, you can see the Molly way more jagged. Look at all the decisions that are every roll is something's happening. On the 5 count, look at those long flat stretches where nothing's happening. Waiting. So again, you got the volatility benefit, I guess, of the Molly, where you're always in the game, and the other one you're just not playing for large periods of time. And again, the Molly, if you look right now, is at, let me hit pause. The Molly right now has had a high win of $3,000. The 5 counts top win so far has been as high as 1,800. So again, volatility with great risk comes great reward. You're also going to see it go to zero more often too. So we're a little bit better than halfway through here. Let's let it finish out, and then I'll do it again without the paycheck being turned on. We'll see what happens there. That's more interesting because it goes a little faster, and you'll see that one of them will go to zero super quick. It happens like really fast, and it stays there. All right, there we go. Stop by auto stop. Okay, so in this case, the Molly's top win was $3,000. The 5 counts top win was $2,000, $2,175. At the end, they both lost money. The Molly lost a total of $3,800. The 5 count lost way less. It lost $2,000. So in this case, unlike the last run, the runs weren't positive here. And so the Molly, because it's high volatility, lost money overall in the grand scheme here. So when I say all strategies lose, last time we won 4K, this time we lost $3,800. In 2 runs of 1,000, the Molly's up about $1,000. The 5 count's probably down about $500. I guess I didn't save the stats, but about that. All right, so here we are. The 5 count this time in 1,000 rolls had only 5 decisions. Can you imagine that? It lost the bankroll twice. It won paycheck 3 times. That was a terrible run of dice, probably, because only 5 decisions. Wow. So we lost 3K here, and we won only 3 times. So those 3 wins better have been good ones. On the Molly side, 13 decisions. So again, it's 3-1, right? The other one had 5 decisions. The Molly has 13 decisions on this one. 13 wins or losses, 8 wins, 5 losses. Not good. Again, the 5 losses, huge volatility here. So didn't do well on either of them. But I think you can see my point, which is not playing, which is the 5 counts way of doing things. By not playing, you do save money on a bad streak. He lost a lot less here, almost twice as much less. He also doesn't win twice as little, right? That's said incorrectly, but the Molly wins twice as much, loses twice as much. Not surprising because it's playing all the time. Okay, and again, the only condition the 5 count cares about is the count. It's not doing any other kind of hot or cold table looks. It's just check and count, and that's it. All right, let me go back over here, and I'm going to turn that screen off. We don't need this one right now. This will make it go faster. And I'm going to turn the paycheck to 0. So paycheck will be 0. So we're not going to check paycheck play this time. We're going to go just like run it forever, basically. Run it until 0. And I think what you'll see here is that the Molly person should go to 0, I think, pretty quick. You'll find that they will go to 0 way faster, of course, than the 5 count person does. Unless you get a super hot run of dice, the 5 count guy will go to 0 too. I've done this a couple times where the Molly goes to 0 quick and the 5 count guy wins 30 grand because he catches a super, like a 80 roller, win craps RNG for the win, and never loses the money because you win so much. But let's see what happens. Let's go. We're going to go reset it. Game, new game. I'm not going to save anything. We're going to go here and it's going to run it out. This will go a lot faster. Let's just do 1,000 rolls again. Same thing. And you'll see again, volatility. And here we get a great run. And because we're not stopping for paycheck, there, the Molly's at 0 and the 5 count's still going. And the 5 count's going to keep on going to 1,000 rolls. And here, never lost his money, which is kind of cool. The Molly person lost. And at one point, they had made $3,600, right? Way back. The Molly player or the 5 counter kept going and going. In this case, never lost their money. They end up with $450 at the end and a $3,300 profit at most. That was a pretty even run right there, actually. You can see the difference here. Molly goes to 0, 5 count ends up making about 100% profit. Let's do another run. And I'm going to try and stop it when it gets to 0 and see where we are this time. I'll try and pay better attention. Want to save it now? No. Okay. Let's do another run. And here we go. I'm going to keep track of stopping the drive once we get to 0 for somebody. There it is, 0. So that didn't take long at all. So the Molly got to 0 in 120 rolls, basically 2 hours of play. Look at this awful run right here. You can see right here this nasty, big time loss. Kind of crawls back, and then this gets trashed, right? During that same period of time where the Molly lost its butt, look what the 5 count did. It sat there, waited. This up in here, this section right here, you can kind of, I wish you could see it. My mouse, I guess, right here. The 5 count's not playing. The Molly is getting hammered, right? This is one of those things where the count helps you by not playing. But you can also see here, look at this big downturn, right? The Molly has already lost their money. They're down here at 0, where the 5 count's down here like 800. Little spike and then huge ass dip, and the 5 count's down here with right now a balance at like $600, right? So again, at the same point in time, one's at 0, one's at 600. Ultimately, it'll end up losing its money just at a slower rate and at different times. But here again, huge volatility, big down streak here. Nothing's happening up here, just sitting there watching the game. So there it goes. Look at that. It got down to $100 right there, and there's the 0. So this time, both players lost money. Before we, and this actually, I didn't hit it fast enough, but it's probably about 500 or so rolls in, where both players went to 0. So no gain either place. That's what typically happens when I run this thing. The Molly goes to 0 first, the 5 count goes to 0 later. At the end of the day, everything will lose because it will. It's the rate at which it loses, and it's also the potential for win. Let's see, how did they do win-wise? The Molly won at 1.2100. The 5 count at best won $50. Look at that. The highest it ever earned was $50. This one here, the highest it ever earned was 600. So again, risk reward. So there it is. There's a good side by side of 5 count versus the regular 3-point Molly. And the next time we do it, I'm going to take the 5 count out of it. We're going to put a different way of playing the Molly, and we'll do a 1 count, which is it sounds the same, but it's completely different, which is more of a Sam Grafstein way of doing it. That'll be for tomorrow's show. But for now, here's a good look at the straight up Molly playing all the time versus taking rolls off and just delaying the inevitable, which is really what it does. You're spending a lot of time not playing, so your bankroll lasts longer. You can decide, if you take a look back, and I can't roll this back, unfortunately, but in that section there where the Molly guy went to 0 and the 5 count guy was kind of flatlining and not doing anything, that might be a time where you say, the hell with it, I'm out of here, right? That's your decision-making time, and the 5 count does give you time to make your best decision for you. So if that's the play you want to make, the 5 counts give you that information. The Molly gave you the information by the casino taking all your money. So either way, you have the information to go or stay. The 5 count just keeps you safer during that process. So there it is. That's the look at playing all the time versus hardly ever playing. So there it is. That's that 5 count versus 3-point Molly. I don't know if I'm being heard or not. I know the video is wickedly jumpy, so I know it's weird. Like, see it jump around. Anyway, that was fascinating. I ran that, like I said, about an hour or so ago. Recorded it real quick so we could show it. It's just what I thought was going to happen, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but I am saying every strategy goes to 0. They all will lose money. Given enough time, they will lose money. The 5 count, I think, was interesting to see all those times where it's flat. I'm not playing craps. I'm not playing craps, and I lose. I'm not playing craps, and then I win a bunch of money. And then I'm not playing craps, right? And that last run was the perfect example where the Molly won $600 and then lost it all. The 5 count won $50 and then eventually lost it all. That's what normally happens. Is they're both about here. One of them takes off a little tiny bit. The 5 count misses out on that good run because it wasn't playing, and then it loses its money 250 rolls later. Ultimately, it's the same thing. The dice don't care what you're doing. They will take the money. The 5 count just delays it. And you see those flats where it's not playing, but then it still has the volatility when it starts to play. It has the same spikes and valleys that it experiences when it's on. It's just when you're on. That's the only difference, right? So why I say the 5 count is the dumbest thing ever is that it's an illusion. It's fantasy to say that I'm playing this way and I'm going to lose less than you because I'm not playing. Well, okay, well, like Cashier's Cage said, just do a 500 count and stay home. I also didn't lose any money today. I didn't lose any money at all at the casino yesterday. I was even at the casino yesterday because I didn't go. The 5 count is doing the same damn thing, right? So those of us who've been doing this long enough will just say, go play. If you're there to play, then play. If you're there to throw the dice, throw the dice. If you're going to go there and not play, it doesn't make any sense to not play because you're still going to lose it in the end. You're just going to win a little bit slower rate or lose at a slower rate, but it's all still going to happen for you, right? Just get in and get out. I would rather have 20 decisions than 5 decisions any day of the week. I'd rather get in there and have 20 paychecks figured out And in those, if there's no requirement to go to stop loss zero. On the days where the molly loses or the 5 count loses, you don't got to stay to the zero. But the point is, it's just the rate of decay. It's just about rate of decay, and it doesn't matter. You're going to see, in that last run, the molly lost in 120 rolls. The 5 count, I can guarantee you, lost its money in 120 rolls too. It's just that it took it 1,000 rolls to see 120 rolls, if that makes sense. So that's why I say it's quote unquote dumb, because you're just sitting there, right? If you think you can read a table and you want to wait until some conditions met, the 5 count waits for 5 box numbers. Charlie waits for a certain number of 7s or 4s we go in. I know that Darksider waits for a certain number of 7s to show or not to show to get in or get out. And I know that Dusted and Blacklight, who do more trend style betting, wait for conditions to go before they go in hard. Cool. You're not playing for a period of time. You wait for your condition. It doesn't matter. When that condition arises, 1 out of 6 times you're going to lose it. 1 out of whatever you're going to win it, right? The dice will just do what the dice do. And that's the whole point of this. Tomorrow we'll do another one. Tomorrow we're going to do the 1 count versus the 3-point molly. And the 1 count is similar. Basically, the 1 count says, I'm going to wait until a shooter makes a point. So it's not counting rolls, it's counting points made. So when I make a point, then I go in on that next roll and start my 3-point molly. So they're both doing the 3-point molly. The 1 count person starts the molly after a point's been made only. Okay. The one count also doesn't do max odds on the pass line. They only do max odds on the come bets. The pass line gets a parlay, or I'm gonna do a 1 unit bump down there instead of the full odds, just like I've been playing in the garage. So basically, I'm gonna play with you what I'm doing in the garage minus the 1 count on that player versus the 3-point molly playing as kind of the baseline, and that's going to be tomorrow's strategy. So you'll find that the same thing happens, right? When you're not playing, you're not losing. When you are playing, you're going to win or lose based on the current rhythm. And at the end of the day, everybody loses their money. It's just a matter of the rate in which your money goes bye-bye. So there it is. That's hope this week will sort of highlight that for you. If you want to play that way, again, I can't stop you. I can only inform you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're not playing or playing. When it's your time, it's your time. And you saw that the molly at one point won a ton of money while the 5-point player wasn't playing. At one point, the molly lost all its money, and the 5 counter won money when he was not playing because he was out of money. It's going to be here and here. You just got to play it in your own way. All right, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and check PCs here and see if there's anything y'all want to talk about before I go to work and do my thing here. Let's see. Jen says, is Sahara? Yes, it's still a possibility. I'm opting to try and work the Caesars thing out. For me, I don't have a lot of comps there, so I'm having trouble getting myself paid for, but that's just because of the way that I played last time I was in Vegas. But yeah, Sahara is a possibility for sure, but I'm working towards getting Caesars to work itself out. Let's see. Jen reminds me to go buy a MacBook in Oregon for sure. The one I got here, you can't see it. This is old. This MacBook here is probably, I would say 8-9 years old. It's an old MacBook with only 8 gigs of RAM. It's just not. It's got no graphics card. It's not made for what it's doing right here. It's a good work computer for traveling for work, but it's not good for this. So I will eventually spend some money on a new one. I got to stop getting my ass kicked at the casinos. I mean, the casinos are bleeding out $100-200 instead of winning the last few sessions. So I got to get out there and make some freaking money. Let's see. Ken says, yeah, it does prove money management discipline, right? When you see the number of paychecks you can pull and your stop loss, I can program way more money management into it. I can do way more in the coding side to say, when these conditions happen in my bankroll, get in or get out. You can do so much more. I let the thing run. Like, in other words, if you win a paycheck in the win craps after that, and let's say you win $200 with the $1,500 starting level, it will not stop betting. It'll keep betting until the 7 out happens. Now, you and me might say, I'm at 150, I'm done right now. And I'll let it reset, and then I'll do it again on the next shooter. This thing is programmed to keep going forever. So what you see in these bigger runs here is excess wins, making the extra money. So we're using excess as we can here to make money. It shows you what excess does versus what regular money management does. But yeah, this is a good exercise, Ken, you're right, and showing you kind of how that works there. So I don't really care what Dom thinks. I just proved it. It doesn't matter, right? You can take 5 rolls off and go in. You will still lose money. You will not win as much. It's just the way that the 5 count works. You will not win as much as the other guy. You will still lose all your money eventually. You'll just lose it in 3 days instead of in 1 day. That's the only difference. It does what Golden Touch says it's going to do, and I'll give them full credit for this statement. And this is the truth. And so hear me out on this. If you're going to do a 5 count, if the purpose of the 5 count is to keep you safe, air quotes, safe, or keep money in your rack while you're waiting for the dice to come back to you, I get it. That's a reason to do it. It's like, I'm going to go super light, very careful until I get a chance to throw and bet harder on myself. That's what the Dominator and those guys teach. Survive the table, get to you. That's what they want you to do. Makes sense. In that same realm, just play a pass line. Just keep in the game, just always play the pass line, maybe 1 comeback. Just stay, no odds. Just play a flat pass, flat come, $20 on each shooter. If one of them hits, you can use it as odds on the other one. Do a simple short stack play around the table, but not playing is not playing. And I think somebody said, I think Frank said it, you're just taking up space by not doing anything, right? Play light, play a good shot. That's why I say play short stack play. Learn how to play short stacks really well. That you can use a short stack to survive the table until it's your turn to go. And again, is it cocky to say, I'm going to survive all of you all until the master gets to shoot? Yeah, it's a little cocky to say that. But I get it. I get that I want to shoot and I want to be there until I get the chance to have the dice smashed. I want them. So I get what they're saying. And that's the reason why they teach. That's a big part of why. It's safety, so you can last until it's your turn to play. Gamblers and people who believe in the power of randomness and volatility will just say bet all the time. And maybe you make 1,000 on that guy at the end of the table that you didn't know before it gets to you. And now you can be more aggressive. So you got to do it the way you want to do it, is what I'm saying. So there's that. I think there's no more PCs, no more comments. Anything else y'all want to talk about before I go here? Otherwise, I will go ahead and turn it off here. Let's see what JR says. Tactics will generate profits, permit session stake, resets, for sure. And that's a great money management way of saying it right there. So you're going to get a chance to kind of reset your bankroll and going back out, which is cool. John K, I don't trust me. I'm a random roller too. Like, I work my ass off at trying to throw the dice good. I'm still pretty random. I mean, I got a little bit of variance in my throw, but not enough to do anything other than tell people at the table don't bet on me until they see something good, right? All right, there we go. I'm out, guys. It's 11:42 East Coast time. It's almost quarter up, and we've said all the things. So I'm going to give you my final thoughts here. My final thoughts are going to be pretty consistent throughout the week, which is this. The 5 count's not going to hurt you, okay? It's not going to help you, but it's not going to hurt you. If you feel better putting less money at risk less often, cool, play the 5 count. If you feel like you're there to make money and you're going to put your money at risk on the randomness of the dice and let it happen, then let it happen. You can play full molly. You can play full 5 count. You can play a 160 across and hope for the best every single time too, right? Whatever floats your boat, just know that when you're exposed, you're exposed. And if you're exposed to the 7, every 6 times you're exposed, you're going to probably see it, right? Or on average, you're going to get whacked. So whether you're, 10 rolls between your exposures or you're 10 or 6 rolls in a row, still going to lose your money on average every 6 times. It's the way that it is. That's the way that is. Blacklight, good point. They do speed the game up because there's nothing to do for those people. So there's that. I will be 100% sure about the viewing party soonly. You and I had a long talk in the car about finances, right? So as you all know, so the football party is going to be in GVR mid-December. Obviously, things cost money for me to travel and everything else. We just got the new dog. The dog needs surgery. Kathy just yesterday found out that she needs to have some work done, which is going to cost a bunch of money. So we have to figure out finances. I'll let you know if I'm going or not. It all depends on finances. If I can afford to do it, I will probably go. There it is. All right. You're saying enjoy family time. There's no enjoyment right here, Louie. I actually spent all day. I spent 4 hours yesterday cleaning out my dad's desk and the closets and all that kind of stuff. And we're doing a bunch of trash runs and giveaways and doing things on OfferUp. And today we're going through finances and stuff. So it's no fun, but it's necessary work, and I'm glad I'm here to do it. I'm glad I can be with Mom when it's going. So yeah, but she's at work, so I'm gonna go get after it. And yeah, I'll record another video at some point today. That'll be the 5 count versus the 1 count for tomorrow. Tomorrow's show, same format. I'll be in here talking. We'll do the video thing, come back and answer questions. So if you have more questions or more thoughts, tomorrow bring them. Make sure you put the PCs in front of them. I can spend some time here in this last segment kind of talking through it. So with that said, love y'all. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. End screen to work. There we go. Hold on, I didn't find the video. Oh yeah. Now it's locked. There we go. See you tomorrow.